Excuse me. All right. Well, I'm creating a video today to show how I clean my animals. I do not have a perfect prescription for this. Right now I'm in my goat shed. I am preparing for my lovely Marin, who is right behind me, right here, who is going to be kidding her first time, so she will be called the freshener. She's going to have her first baby within the next couple of weeks, and so I am trying to clean this area where they've been housed for like since I created it, and this will become the maternity ward. I do have a shelter outside of here that my non-pregnant doe, as far as I know, she's not pregnant, and my buck Manny here, they're going to be housed out there while I am in, well, she's in here, and then I can sort of keep them segregated for the time being until I have a little bit more permanent situation. So the bedding here is mostly hay. It also has pine shavings in here, and I believe in the fall I had put some compressed pine shavings, which creates, when it gets wet, it creates like a sawdust. But let's just put it this way, I believe that there's probably at least 1.5 feet of muck here. That's why I'm wearing this. And I don't have a jacket on because it's the high is 53 today, and I get hot really easily, so I want to stay comfortable and as clean as possible here. But anyways, my handy dandy tools is going to be a pitchfork, because this is all compressed, and I have this bucket right out here. It has a nice little dump out action, and you're probably going to catch a video of my dog Mars. He's in here because he's good with animals. Oh, look, see? He's good with animals, and he's just going to be schmoozing for goat poop, and I also don't have to worry about him wandering off. So yeah, all right, well, ask me any questions that you have about my setup. You won't see all of it. This setup is eventually going to be taken down for a more movable option, but this is what I currently have, and this is how I manage housing my goats. Okay, so that was just my first one. I literally have made like the tiniest dent out of my flooring here. And it's gonna be working. I'm probably gonna be out here for maybe 2 hours just cleaning this up. Anyways, you might be wondering why I didn't clean up over the winter. You might be wondering why I didn't have any certain kind of bedding in here or any of that. Well, firstly, goats are tremendous wasters of hay. You have to find a method that works for you and your goats to reduce the amount of hay wastage, because hay is not a bedding, it's a food. That's the phrase, hay is for horses. So goats are very picky. They like to go through and find the best thing, and they even end up tossing out the good stuff regardless. So that's why I did not put any bedding down, because they dump it out onto the ground and they don't touch it again, ever. Sometimes they'll touch it a little bit, which is bizarre, but for the most part they won't touch it. And I didn't clean out the bedding all winter is because I live in a cold climate. from approximately November all the way up here into April. Like, this is mid-April, we've had freezing temperatures. In other words, it's cold enough not to have really anything growing or smelling. So the bedding here is thick because I would rather do cleaning like 2 times a year. I might do a little bit more during the summer just because of the amount of flies that can appear. But otherwise, wintertime, since nothing is really alive or going about buzzing, I only do it during the springtime, and I do an ultimate clean out at, right before winter, just to have it fresh to start up. But also, the place that I've situated my goat shed, we got a lot of snow throughout the winter. I mean, there was so much snow that it broke my gate because I couldn't, my door, because I couldn't close it, latch it closed because of the buildup of snow. And if we had a little bit of melt, it would melt and then refreeze over into ice. The building behind me is a pole shed. I actually live in a pole shed, so ironic as it is. And the roof doesn't have a very steep incline or decline, however you want to put it. And it built up so much snow during certain periods of the winter that it was very slow to coming down. It would melt underneath, then refreeze, creating ice dams, and then those things would come out like a foot almost off of the edge of the roof, and I would fall down. And anyway, so there was a lot of snow here, and then you know what happens with snow. Snow melts, and I'm pretty sure that a portion of that snow melt had come also into here. So I just figured it was better to not try to clean this out to prevent having to clean it out. And so it is really actually quite wet down here. It actually looks a bit like very wet mulch. So there is that. Also, I left it in here for warmth. If at certain times when it looked like it was a little bit too damp, I would put fresh pine shavings. And that's to help with foot rot. And just to keep things in again just as warm as possible. Now it's springtime because it is April 18th. Everything is really starting to warm up. The trees are starting to bud, and that means that I've already seen my first flies last week when we were in the mid 80s, which is super bizarre. So I'm trying to get this also before the ammonia smell. Last week I cleaned out my chicken coop. I forgot to video because I listen to really long podcasts on YouTube when I do things like this, and so I forgot to video it. But regardless, I have 2 chicken coops. It took me around 4 hours between both of those chicken coops to clean it out, so that's why I expect this to be 2 hours at the very minimum, and it'll just feel good to get this done. So again, ask me questions. I will try to give the best answers that I can give, and I look forward to your responses. All right, I want everyone to see this is how far I've gone. I've already done several barrel holes. I think this is closer to 2 feet at this rate. I believe I've hit ground, but it's sort of hard to tell. And then, if you look down here, look at all these layers. It looks like I hardly made a dent. But I can already tell you that when I step in here, it is hard for me to reach this. And I used to be able to reach it easily. So I'm looking at my hayloft here. I have a feeling that I am going to be struggling to reach my hayloft after I'm done with this. So I'll probably readjust it and lower it down. I just got back from taking about an hour break. I am actually really exhausted here, but I'm determined to get this finished. I also had to get some gloves, mismatched gloves, because my hands were starting to rub and it is not giving me really good grip control, but I would rather not get blisters just from today. As you can see, that one hand is a little ill-fitting. It was outside and it shrunk down a little bit. Alright, I'm not videoing everything obviously. I cleared out that area. There's a little bit of stuff there, but nothing big. I just have this pile left to go, and I'll be basically done with the entirety of this. So I'm going to be putting down barn lime. I'm doing that for like deodorizing and stuff. Some people might say don't do it, but I do it. I think it's barn lime. I'll have to show you later on what I actually use, because I did get something and I don't think it's quite barn lime. So here is my current one, and this is how much I have put out here. I would say this is longer than my van, and I'm still gonna pile on more. And this is what a day's work of cleaning out one goat area from an entire winter full of well, everything. And I have plenty of flies out here, so I'm going to be putting out some fly traps around this area and make sure that it gets the flies when they get to maturation. Here's a greeting from Annie. He's probably wondering what I'm doing standing here. And there is Amelia. And then Marion, my little pregnant doe. She's running off because Mars is here. He's my animal loving dog. Alright, sorry for the handsome look here, but I'm done. I have finished cleaning. I am hiding out for my goats here. So this is what it looks like. I had to stop the video and restart, but this is what it looks like now. It is basically as clear as it's going to get for now. I will be doing successive just cleans, nothing deep. This is just a deep get rid of the litter kind of thing. And this is the thing that I'm going to throw. I'm going to dump the entire thing. It's called Stall Dry. It's an absorbent and deodorizer. I'm just going to throw the entire thing on the floor to freshen it all up. And for everyone who's like, is it safe for goats? Right there, the goat. That looks like a coyote, but I'm pretty sure that's a dog. Bunny. I think that's a sheep. We got cows. We got a cat. I'm pretty sure in here it even has a picture of a horse. So this is what I'm going to be using, and I'm just going to toss it. I'll show you my unprofessional throwing on this in a minute, but here's some storage ideas for you. This is going to get moved down a little bit because it's too high. I am not 6 foot, so this is going to get moved down. It was this high because that is how much bedding was in there in this thing. Like, it was that high, it was that thick. So if you look down here, I have 2 layers of brick, then I have the pallets, and it was definitely past and maybe a little bit over the first bottom layer of pallet running horizontally, and it went all the way around here. And in the winter I had to start shoving it back in to the goats area because it was coming out. So that is how much I had. And anyways, I had to put this storage here. This is my hay loft, essentially. It's not completely it's not element proof at all. When we had a bit of snow, we got it come through a bit, but it was basically nothing. Anyways, as you can tell, I'm using the spaces between the pallets to store my tools up here. And, oh, hello there. What's up, Amelia? She thinks I have treats for her. I'm not giving her anything. They've already had their breakfast. And this is it. There's a little dust in the air here, but I just spread it across this area. I'm going to be coming out with pine shavings later on. But for now, I'm just going to take a rest because I have done what I plan to do, which is clean this out. Gotten visited by my little Amelia here. I'm a goof. Probably should start hiding. I found plenty of my clamps. I was wondering where my clamps kept on disappearing too. My goats were burying it in the dirt, in their shavings, their bedding. And that's just what everybody wants, is to find stuff. And I've been looking for those clamps during the winter. Oh, I need to hide this. I just thought to myself, I'm just going to dump this bucket. It's a feed bucket. I thought, I'll just dump this on top. Get away, man. Thank you. Anyways, I decided instead I'm just going to put this in here. I do have a resident mouse. I have a resident mouse, so I have to actually put those things away. And here we are. So it looks from the outside. It's much cleaner. I got some chicken on the loose. That looks like Dirty Harriet. I actually got quite a few chickens. They've gotten quite naughty today. They're all out for the fresh air. Anyways. And this is, by the way, this is Ron. This is gonna be my shelter for the other two when my black mama here goes into labor. So she can have her safe space and they can have shelter. And this is literally all of it. This is all of the stuff that I have put out. There was a small pile here, but this is it. This is a lot of this. Basically, most of this is actually hay that they have pulled out. So this is a bunch of hay that they could have eaten. But that is why goats are known to be wasteful. 3 of them. So, get down.